Hello everybody, this is a September 2019 super budget Subterror Guru Control deck profile. So honestly, no promises about this deck. It can win, but it is a very stripped down version of what this deck probably could be. So if you open Guru or Hidden City or Desires or Duality, then you're in decent shape. If you open a bunch of traps as well as miscellaneous hand traps, then it can be kind of rough to start your offensive maneuvers, but let's begin. So we start off with Triple Guru. So this is the flip effect that searches any Subterror card upon being flipped. So most of the time it can search anything like the trap, but most of the time you're searching the Fiendus. That is pretty much the core engine of this deck, is the Fiendus Guru combo there. That is why they call it the Subterror Guru Control, because you search Fiendus with Guru, you negate your opponent's plays with Fiendus. So this card does have a second effect. It can change itself as well as an opponent's monster or another monster on the field to face down defense. So that is kind of a sometimes offensive play or defensive as well. That you can use to reset your Guru, and it is a quick effect if you control another Subterror card. Probably going to be Cave Clash, but could be Nemesis Archer as well. So 3 Fiendus. This card is the Omni Negate hand trap. Very, very strong card. I mean, the strongest hand trap of the deck, built into the archetype. So you want it in the hand most of the time, but it does have an additional effect. You can change a monster you control to face down defense, and then special a Subterror from hand or graveyard. So it's just another way to reset your Guru here, but like I said, most of the time you want it as a hand trap in your hand. And the last Subterror monster is this Nemesis Archer. This is kind of a pricey card. I'm not running Umastrix because Umastrix is a pretty pricey card as well, even pricier than this one, and it's also optional, I believe. But this card is mostly the offensive maneuvers that you're going for here. This is your spot removal. So you do have Guru to change your opponent's monster to face down defense, and then this monster, if it attacks a face down defense monster, will be shuffling it into the deck. So that is the way to get rid of your opponent's problematic monsters. So this card also, if it's destroyed, you can special summon from the deck in face up or face down defense. So both Fiendus and Nemesis Archer can special Guru in face down defense or face up, either from the deck or the hand or graveyard. So a lot of support for Guru. So some non-Subterror monsters here. We have triple Pankratops. So I am maining this card for a few reasons. None of these Subterror monsters, besides with the help of Cave Clash, have too high of attack. So this card actually does help as a beater, and it's just your good generic spot removal too. It's also very cheap, and it is an Earth monster. So I am running Gozen Match as well as, Mrs. Radiant if you want to possibly go into Mrs. Radiant. So hand traps. 3 Veiler. So this is just a very, a fairly cheap hand trap that is just arguably the best, just of how versatile it is. Something you can do on your when your opponent's going first. 1 DD Crow. I dropped this to 1 to make space for some other cards in the deck, some traps. But this can be, you're probably going to be, it can be good. You're probably going to be playing Salamangreat nowadays. This is very strong against Salamangreat. You can banish their spells and traps before they can recur them. So the last hand traps are triple Winter Cherries. So this deck doesn't need the extra deck too much at all, and this is a good opportunity to use this card if you do have the relevant extra deck cards. So I am running a bunch of budget Cherries targets in the extra deck in this profile here, but it can be a very critical play if you're playing against the right decks coincidentally. So for some spells, triple Hidden City. This card is similar to Trickstar Lightstage in that it searches a card of the archetype upon activation. So once per turn, you can change your face down defense Subterror monster face up. So it is just your way to activate Guru the same turn that you set it. So also it kind of works as a trap, this card too, because once per turn when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can change your face down defense Subterror monster to face up and then negate the attack. So just more ways during your turn, during your opponent's turn, in addition to the traps too, in addition to just a lot of cards in this deck, you can use Guru at interesting times. So 1 Cave Clash, I'm pretty sure this is the standard amount of this card to run, so it will just boost all of your Subterrors by 500 attack and defense for each set monster on the field. So sometimes you do have triple Guru set, and then you can normal summon that Nemesis Archer for 1500 attack and defense boost. So that would probably be your main offensive strategy, and then you'd have just a bunch of Gurus stored up for they're hard once per turn use. So this card also has an additional effect. You can recur your Fiendus if your Subterror monster inflicts battle damage. So now triple Pot of Duality. So this card is very important. No extravagance in this super budget version, but sometimes you're going to be, I mean, most of the time you're going to be just normal setting your Guru, and that's the only kind of summoning you're doing. Not too much special summoning. I mean, there is Pankratops as well as Nemesis Archer and Fiendus, but I mean, the majority of the time just set and then flip summon or flip face up. So not too much conflict here. And you do need a little bit of an additional draw power, so I am running double Desires as well. Just the number of the small monster engine as well as the limited just core engine is just, you need some ways to cycle through the deck. Otherwise you can be just left with a bunch of just miscellaneous cards that have nothing to do with Subterror. So one terraforming to search the hidden city. So traps, 3 final battles. So this is your World Legacy pawns. You're changing face down monsters face up or face up monsters face down. So you're activating your Guru and flipping it at times that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So also the attack and defense of a Subterror monster you control becomes equal to its combined attack and defense. So that would bring Nemesis Archer to 3,400. That would bring Guru to 3,400, Nemesis Archer to 3,000. So some big beat sticks. And also this turn, activated effects of Subterror cards cannot be negated. So if they try to Veiler your Guru, then you can chain this. And this card also sets itself after being activated. So not a hard once per turn. So not too bad at 3, I think. So triple Solemn Judgment. This card is kind of pricey, but I included this over DD Crow at 3 because this is an Omni Negate. Fiendus is an Omni Negate. If you can have this card plus Fiendus, it can actually win you the game. So one Solemn Strike, just to round up the Solemn Brigade. This card has lower LP cost than Warning, so probably a little bit safer to run. Also negates effects too. 2 Heavy Storm Duster because this is a control deck, so you want to just hit all their bases. Floodgates, Imperial Iron Wall, just for the Thunder Dragon possibility. I am running a Winter Cherries target against Thunder Dragon, but you know, this is the counter to that deck. 1 Soul Drain. This is a counter to a myriad of decks. This is actually a game winner right here because it doesn't really affect the Subterror deck at all. 1 Summon Limit because, like I said, maybe it's just set Guru and then flip it face up, face down over and over again, but not too much more summoning. So this is actually a pretty good card in this deck. And then the last card in the main deck is this Goes in Match because the whole deck is Earth, and that's the main deck. So extra deck, the only offensive extra deck play you're going for is this Mrs. Radiant. I'm not running Subterror Behemoth Fiendus because, and do correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe with only 3 Gurus, no Umastrix, even with Umastrix it's kind of tough, but you need 2 flip monsters to make Behemoth Fiendus, and you're going to be sending one from deck to grave, so that would be the 3rd one. So what would be the last one to special from your hand or to search from the deck too? So I don't think either of Behemoth Fiendus's effects would really work, and the ATK boost isn't really that comparable to Mrs. Radiant anyway. So I'm running Mrs. Radiant. 1 Zephyr Metaltron for the Pendulum Magician matchup. This is much cheaper than Electromite. 1 Agar Pain, which is much cheaper than LP. Dragunity, Red Eyes, Blue Eyes. Crusadia uses this card. Isolde for Goki or Heroes, or just Phantom Knights, any number of warrior decks. Nightmare Mermaid as well as Galatea. So this is for Orcust. Mermaid is a good hit because they need it for the start of their combo. Galatea is arguably a better hit because they probably will be using it multiple times within the combo. Some Summoner because the Thunder Dragon fusions are very expensive, but a lot of times they use 1 fusion monster to make it plus another main deck card to make this card here. So you can lock them into, if you hit this card, you can lock them into just 1 Thunder Dragon fusion monster. 1 Borload because this card was reprinted. It is very cheap now, and this is actually probably the safest Cherries target in this extra deck. 1 Kagari. It's up to you if you want to run this card or Shizuku. Both of them, I believe people will go into Shizuku earlier in the game, but this will obviously recycle their Engage. 2 Salamangreats, Balinks, as well as Sunlight Wolf. Again, up to you which one you want to hit here, so I ran both. This will stop them from getting their Sanctuary. This one will stop them from recurring from the graveyard. But in order to use this effect, they need their Sanctuary. So I would say that Balinks is a better hit. So some kind of miscellaneous ones now. One Dragon Buster. Without this card, ABCs don't have much extra deck plays at all, so this is actually a decent hit, and it's a budget deck, so if you're in a budget, community, then this is actually probably a good one to run. So a few less popular ones now. Supernaturalist. Gravekeepers is kind of a pricey deck, but also they don't really need this card too much, but it can be a decent hit. They get a search off of this card. It protects their Necro Valley. Dark Law. So this is another cheap card that just a number of decks can kind of tech into Dark Law. So it could be a good hit. I mean, this card would stop your Fienduses from being recurred with Cave Clash. And then the last one is this Dante, because Cherubini is expensive, and this is again a cheap one. I hope these extra deck targets, these Cherries targets, were both cheap and relevant. That was kind of the struggle here, to achieve both of those goals. But anyway, this has been super budget Subterror Guru Control, so thanks for watching. Have a good one.